Now let us discuss what are ratios and then we will discuss what are percentages. First of all, what do you mean by the word ratio? See, you have been studying ratios since your younger classes also, but here in a way when you are defining it, you would define it as when you are want to comparing two different quantities. That is where you use the word ratio. So I write ratio as the comparison between any two quantities. So I'll write here between two quantities. Now see, those quantities could be anyway, right? So I am taking one example over here, that is, let us assume that we have a basket, right? A fruit basket which contains two types of fruits. It has say 20 apples and 5 oranges, right? I am taking this one example. Now if I ask you to write down the ratio for number of apples to number of oranges, what I mean to say is you have to write the ratio for number of apples to the number of oranges you had in your basket. So how would the ratio come out to be? That would be which way? How many number of apples do you have in your basket? You have 20 apples and how many oranges do you have? 5. So when you simplify this, you get the ratio as 4:1. But if I ask you what is the ratio of number of oranges to the ratio of number of apples, how would you get it? You would get the reciprocal of this, right? That is going to be 5/20. That gives us 1/4 and the ratio comes out to be is 1:4. Now here you can say one thing. From the first ratio we can conclude one thing, that is that number of apples are 4 times the number of oranges. Can we say that? How? Why? If I write number of apples to be equal to, here we had 4. If I take number of oranges to that side, it will get multiplied. So I'll have number of oranges here, right? And what is this equation telling us? This equation is itself telling us that the number of apples are 4 times the number of oranges. Isn't it true? You had 5 oranges and 4 times the 5 oranges would become 20. That gives you here the number of apples. Similarly, from the next ratio that we got, we can derive another conclusion which says that the number of oranges, 4 times the number of oranges if you take, it would give you the number of apples. Or you can write it the other way, right? There is other way also possible, which will be that 1/4 times. I can write number of oranges as equal to the 1/4 of number of apples. Am I correct or wrong? Just check it on your own. How many number of apples did we had in a basket? We had 20 apples. And if I do the 1/4 of that 20, what would I get? 5, right? That is the number of oranges. Am I correct? That means this is how you take out the ratio of things. If I ask you what is the ratio of apples to oranges in the basket, you would directly tell me it is 4:1. If I ask you what is the ratio of oranges to apples, what you will do? You will tell me it is 1:4. If I ask you a direct question, I am not asking you the ratio. I am asking you the relation between number of oranges to number of apples. You can tell me any of these ratios. We can use any of them. Why? Because each of them is giving us the same answer only, right? It's just written in some or the other way, but the answer would be same. So this is how we calculate and write the ratios. Now I am going to discuss the second topic, that is percentage. Now first of all, I am going to take the easiest daily life example, that is our marks. All of us are very much familiar with the marking system these days. What happens is when you score, say you are scoring 8 marks out of 10. Anybody who comes and asks you that how much marks have you scored, you either tell the person that I have scored 8 out of 10 or you tell the person that you have scored 80%, right? And where is this word percentage coming from? This percentage means, basically the word percentage means out of 100, right? If somebody asks you what is the meaning of percent, percent means out of 100. When any quantity is compared out of 100, that gives you the percentage. Now over here I am taking one very small example that we all have been doing. For example, you scored 75 marks out of 100. So what is your percentage? I am writing how much marks have you scored. This is how you calculate the percentage of marks, right? I am writing how to calculate percentage of marks. Now for this you will be requiring two things. First thing would be how much marks have you scored. So I will write marks scored in short form, and the other quantity that we will be required is the total marks. Okay, the total marks would be written in the denominator. Now whatever this ratio comes out to be will be multiplied with 100 to convert into percentage, right? Now what are your marks scored? Say you scored 74 out of say 90, right? You had your exam of 90 marks and you scored 74 out of it. Now how much percentage have you scored? Now you will multiply this whole fraction with 100, and when you solve this you will get your answer 740 over 9, and when you divide it, let us check what are we going to get. 9 8s are 72, 2 remainder, 0 noted down, 9 2s are 18, again 2.02, again 18, and so on. So we take the percentage to be as 82.2%. This is how we calculate the percentages. Now I am going to tell you simple conversions. Let us do the conversions of ratio to percentage and percentage to ratios. Okay, when you have to convert ratios to percentage, what you should do? Let us take one example for this. I am taking say 3:2. Now I have to convert 3:2 into percentage. What do? I will write it in fraction form. This is my first step, and I will going to multiply this with 100. Any fraction needs to be converted into percentage has to be multiplied with 100. Whatever question has been given to you, converted into fraction form and then multiply it with 100, you will get your percentage. How come? Let us do this. We get 50 into 3, that is 3 zeros are 0, 3 5s are 15, right? Now this is what? Percentage. Again, if you want to calculate, convert percentage to ratio, what are you going to do? Again the same thing. Let's say I have 75%. I want to convert this into ratio. What would I do? I would convert it into fraction first. My fraction would be, see, this percentage sign means if I want to remove this percentage sign, I will add 100 in the denominator, right? That is how we remove the percentage sign. Now I have got rid of the percentage sign. Let us solve it. This has already become a fraction now. All I need to do is simplify it as maximum as possible, and then I'll write it in the ratio form, right? So let us simplify this. 5 2s are 10 and 0, 5 1s are 5, 6 7 25, 5 5s are 25, 5 3s are 15, and 5 4s are 20. So what do we get? 3:4 as the ratio over here. So what is the basic step for conversion? When you have to convert ratio to percentage, always convert ratio into fraction first and then multiply that fraction with 100. Understood? Similarly, when you have to convert percentage back into ratio, what you have to do? You have to divide it with 100, right? I am going to write it as into 1 by 100, because if you multiply it with 1 by 100, 100 would come in the denominator only, right? And you write it in the fraction form. You have already got your fraction, and you can finally write it in the ratio form. So these were the this is how you actually find the ratios and percentages. You can be given the question in ratio form, you might have to convert it into percentage, or vice versa, right?